Hey everybody, it's Somnior Respiratory Flux. Call me Flux for short, or whatever you want to call me. And in the last episode, we got up here to the entrance of the fire temple. And now we're going to head inside. Yeah, it's really just that simple. Fire temple. Naturally, it has lots of fire in it. Also has lots of rooms that count as superheated, so you need your Goron tunic to stay in them for any length of time. Oddly enough, this is not one of them, despite being right out next to the entrance back into the crater. But basically any room that has lava in it. Just as a general rule. Also, these faces are kind of creepy. We only have a couple doors that are accessible. We have this one, but as we quickly find out, it's not gonna get us anywhere. Please don't eat me. If you eat something like me, you'll get a stomachache. You'll be sorry. Okay then, we're kind of stuck in that part of the dungeon, obviously. But that leaves us one other door to go through. Seriously? Keys are the worst. I don't even have to kill this one. I can just go through the door. Anyway, but if you head through here... Hey, who's that familiar face? Who's there? Is that you, Link? Oh, it really is Link. You've grown so big since I last saw you. I want to have a man-to-man talk with you, but now is not the time. Ganondorf is causing trouble on Death Mountain again. He has revived the evil ancient dragon Volvagia. On top of that, he is going to feed my people to that evil dragon as a warning to other races that might resist him. If that fire-breathing dragon escapes from the mountain, all of Hyrule will become a burning wasteland. I will go on ahead to try to seal up the evil dragon. I'm concerned, though, because I don't have the legendary hammer, but I have no choice. Link, I'm asking you to do this as my sworn brother. While I'm trying to deal with the dragon, please save my people. The prisoner's cells are in the opposite direction. I'm counting on you, Link. And he somehow goes in without the boss key and locks it back up behind him again. So, yeah, that's not exactly helpful. There's a hookshot target over here that you can use to kind of get over there and break open some pots. There's a fairy or two in there, but more importantly, you want to be jumping over here, because he wasn't entirely truthful what he just said. There is one cell that's right here. It's also the easiest one to open. You just have to step on the switch. Are you releasing me? Am I free to go? I'll tell you a secret for saving me. And all of these are... Not all of them are useless, but in order to get to the room where Ocarina went, you have to do something about the pillars stuck in the ceiling. Find a path that leads to a room above the ceiling right away. So basically, he just kind of gives us, like, the general instruction for getting through this dungeon. Other than freeing the Gorons. We got a key. I don't know, this is always an interesting temple design to me. Also, yeah, that's interesting, and naturally, if we can do something about that, we can get across the gap to the door. But, I don't know. I don't think this is my favorite dungeon from the game, but it's definitely up there. Honestly, I'm not sure why. The Forest Temple is also really solid, too. I think the main thing that's kind of not my favorite about this dungeon is the fact that a lot of the rooms look kind of similar, admittedly. But, I mean, I guess it's fire. I don't know. But it does have one thing that's kind of interesting about the layout that I don't know when I'll be able to show it, but hopefully soon. This guy is gonna tell me another secret. A wall that you can destroy with the Goron's special crop will sound different than a regular wall if you hit it with your sword. That actually is a surprisingly useful tip, actually. I'm not sure why I thought most of these were useless. I guess it's just that they're not particularly helpful if you've already played the game before. But I guess the game was designed... I guess games in general are designed to be played the first time, because... I mean, some games are designed so that you understand more about them after you've played them a second time, or when you're playing through a second time, you pick up on foreshadowing and other details that you didn't have the first time through. But generally, games are... and all sorts of fictional stories are generally intended to be seen the first time. Also, in a throwback to the older games, like I think the original had them, but most famously, A Link to the Past, there's these evil floor tiles that fly up at you. And then there's this thing. That is a like, and nobody likes. Because they do this. And they take your shield and tunic, but if you kill them quickly, you can get them back. Again, really the only annoying thing is having to re-equip them. But fortunately, if you have something that you cannot replace, the likes cannot take it. But so if you're wearing your Kokiri tunic, the like can't take that away from you. And there is a third shield that we get later. You don't have that yet, sadly. You don't get that for quite a while. But likes cannot take that either. So depending on what you have equipped, you don't really have much to lose from them. But that whole room was just there for a golden sculptula, so there are a lot of rooms in this dungeon that are like that, honestly. So it's kinda weird. Though I suppose worth remembering if you play a randomizer, because sometimes golden sculptulas can be really important to get in those, or at least useful. Now this wall, if you hit a normal wall, it sounds like that. If you hit this wall, it sounds like that. As if it didn't already look suspicious enough, that's your cue that you can get something out of here with a bomb. And lo and behold, there's a door behind here that has another chest and another Goron. This one's probably going to tell us something else about the Goron special crop, because they tend to tell you things related to bombs. There are switches in this temple that you have to cut to activate, but you can also use the Goron special crop to do the job. That's also somewhat helpful. Also, arrows will activate those switches as well, or the hookshot. Really, anything that hits them will activate them. And those switches, I will point them out when we see them. I guess I never really realized, but this is the first place where you really see those. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, once you have both of those keys, you can actually go onward, because you need both to get through this next area. You need one to get into here, and then yeah. Now, you can hookshot your way up this fence. You can just climb it. It's a little bit silly what the game expects you to do here, because yeah, you can just kind of stand right along here, and it's not all that obvious that you can. There are hearts over there that are honestly not all that worth spending the time to go and get, at least not to me. This block you can push, And this is actually really important. In fact, necessary. Link, hello. You want to push that down and then stand on here. The pillar of fire will push it up. You basically make an impromptu elevator. And here's a locked door that, yes, you need that other key, and you need both of those. Now this room, I don't know, this room always kind of stuck out weirdly in my memory to me. Partly because you have that Goron there that we can't really do anything about yet. Partly because of all the things in here that are all the kind of... The puzzle in here is oddly complicated. Also, these enemies, they are torch slugs, and they make basically the same sound as the like-likes, so they can be kind of creepy, actually. That's the kind of switch that bombs, arrows, sword, hookshot, anything will activate that. They're usually on a timer. What you want to do is jump over here, push this block, and yeah, push this block. Block pushing is exciting, right? Nintendo certainly seems to think so, because it ends up in almost every Zelda game. You gotta push blocks around. But no, I guess I'm being overly negative for relatively no reason. You can do that, jump up to here, climb up, and the easy way to do this puzzle is, in fact, just as the Goron said. Drop a bomb over that ledge and it'll activate the switch. It'll turn off the flame. And as long as you get through here quickly enough, you can do that. You can also hit it with your sword or an arrow and run. As long as you get there before it deactivates, you're probably good. But in any case, now we are to the third floor of this dungeon, which that's the main thing about the structure that stands out, is the fact that it's basically tall rather than wide. But that'll be more obvious relatively soon. That gate was kind of phasing through the air. You releasing me? Am I free to go? I think you do technically have to save all of the Gorons. I don't know for sure. There are some you probably don't have to, but they are helpful too. Your doors that fall down when you try to open them. When one of these doors starts to fall, move. If you use a sample of the Goron special crop, you can break it. Yeah, that's also good to know. There are fake doors in this dungeon. They don't show up until a little bit later, but they also kind of obvious. Yeah, there's a small key in here. There are lots of keys in this dungeon, and you need a lot of keys. This room is kind of a maze, and you have to dodge the rolling boulders. There are a couple things that you need. Again, this is kind of a room where you need to get 2 keys before you can go onward. This wall, if you hear the sculptula, is actually our hint that there's a fake wall here, and literally all that's behind here is a golden sculptula. Again, you can backflip to get it. But there's one other place. Yes, in here. You got a door. And yet another Goron. Yeah, that is kind of boring. You don't actually even have to talk to the Gorons. You can just open the gate and ignore them, but when you're on fire, you can put it out by swinging your sword or by rolling forward. Did you know that? I guess that can be helpful if you catch on fire, but also it isn't really that dangerous, and you're not likely to catch on fire without landing in lava anyway. Yep, another key. I don't know, I always talk to the Gorons anyway, just so that they are not in the room anymore. I don't know, I feel like I don't actually rescue them otherwise, but anyway. Once you have 2 keys, open this door. You can also shoot this switch, but you won't through this door, you won't actually be able to go onward into the next room. Also, be careful not to fall here unless you want to climb all the way back from the first floor. Yeah, it's kind of awful, actually. One thing I don't really like about this dungeon structure, but it's still really cool how it's actually pretty interconnected. And with this, we have a big chest, which you know what that means. It's the dungeon map. Yep. Which I can show you actually kind of more about what I mean about the structure of the temple. It's like, basically you have two halves, one on either side of the whole area where you enter. And each half is kind of its own tower. So you got two towers that form the temple, and there's kind of bridges in between them, essentially. Which is kind of cool, but also kind of annoying. But, in any case, now we go on to this half of this tower on this floor, which this is also a kind of annoying room because you step on here and you've got fire coming up behind you, and yeah, basically this room is just kind of there to make you run. But once you get through here, you can go back into the other half, and this time you're on the top. This time you're on the top half of the place. You got a torch slug here. Kill it, and before you drop down, you're gonna want to bomb this. Yep. You can drop down. You kind of want to just grab the thing. But this brings you back to a familiar looking room, and from the other side you can free this Goron. So yeah, that's actually pretty nice. Yeah. And then he was saying, what's your tip for rescuing you? Somewhere in this temple, you're sure to meet up with some creatures that dance as they attack. Arrows won't hurt them. Looks like you might need some of the Goron's special crop. That's all I have to tell you. Man, with all the different ways they come up with to not call bomb flowers, it's like, it makes it sound like they're talking about something else, not going to lie. Okay, that's a key, so yes, you need to free that Goron, actually. But yeah, no, the shape of this room is really weird to me. Like, the L shape, but also the square bottom. It's just so distinct, and I always found that room shape very weird. Am I the only one who finds that particular room shape odd? I don't know. I don't understand my way of thinking either, honestly. Torch Slug is back for whatever reason. Now, you want to be somewhat careful here that you don't fall, because then you have to go back around through that lava room, and it's a bad time. But there are a few things you can do in here. Like, press that switch, and that opens up. Oh, ow. Okay. Yeah, pressing that switch opens up that cage, which, wouldn't you know it, has another Goron and another treasure chest. And this time, it's like, what are you going to say? Tell you a secret for saving me. Find a place that you can see on the map but can't reach. Try playing your Ocarina. That's actually a hint for something in this room, believe it or not. Open the chest, and you get another small key. This is like, I'm pretty sure this is the 7th small key that we've gotten in this dungeon, and it's not the last. So, yeah, that's kind of a lot of keys in this temple, honestly, and a lot of keys, actually. Wonder if that's a coincidence. It probably is. I don't know what they're called in the Japanese version. Or if they're called keys, but the joke doesn't really translate over. But no, one thing you want to do, if you see that up there, hold on, Navi, I want you to go up there. If you play your Scarecrow's song, this is in no way required to beat this dungeon. But what do you know? The Scarecrow appears up there, which is interesting because aside from the thing in Dodongo's cavern, I'm pretty sure this is the only time you need to use the Scarecrow song for 100%, is to get up here. There are other places in dungeons where you can use the Scarecrow song, but generally it's just as a shortcut. I don't think there are any other places where you need to play the Scarecrow song to get to a room. I didn't know about how to get up here for the longest time when I was a kid. But if you just come up here, hey, there's a free golden sculptula. I will take that. And you don't even need to bother hookshotting it, because you can just grab it on your way up the chain link fence. And up here, we have finally made it to the top. To the top of the dungeon. Wow. And yes, you don't even actually need to come up here. Get that golden sculptula. And I think that's all you really need in here for 100%, but there's also this. There's a chest there. And I'm going to want to get it because I am stupid. The timer is kind of tight. But you can get it. It's not required at all. Yeah, it's kind of stupidly tight timing to get through that, but what it typically expects you to do is something like that. Oh, good grief. Don't fall. I like how I finally got out the don't fall long after I was actually out of danger of falling. I'm gonna try and get this one more time. I'm pretty sure it's just rupees, so it's kind of a waste for me to be getting it. But I just want to clear that mark off of my map, because once I get the compass, I know it's going to be there. Yeah, that's 200 rupees, so yeah, it's a bit of a waste. But there's absolutely no reason to worry about that, because money is really easy to find in this game. If the fact that I already have the largest wallet full is any indication. But with that, we are technically almost... I know it feels weird to say, but we are technically almost done with the Fire Temple. Or at least a solid halfway through, I guess. It's hard to say for sure, because this is a weird temple. That bit I just did is not particularly important. Also, wow. That's all that happens if the fire catches up to you, by the way, but you want to jump up here. Once you have 2 keys, use them both. Or rather, no, you don't use the second one just yet. That gets us to this room, which as Navi points out. You can see down from here. Isn't that the room where we saw Darunia? Peace? Get away from me! Thank you. But yes, we are up to the room above the entrance to the boss room. I think this is a good place to call it an episode for now, after we've done most of the dungeon, really. So, in the next episode, we will go through and see what we can do about this pillar, now that we are up to it. This has been Somni Respiratory Flux, and respond, vibrate, feedback, resonate, comments below, all you will feel like doing. Tell me how I did. And next time, we'll finish up the Fire Temple. See you then. No, this pillar is definitely not the good elephant.